This is Damien from Marketing Food Online. So you want to get in the food business and you have a great recipe for what you believe to be a great food product, but you want to get some feedback and you want to get it honestly. Well, in this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly how I tested the market with my product over 10 years ago here on Marketing Food Online. Okay guys, so you've got your product and you are ready to get it packaged and you want to start producing it and you want to start selling it and you want to make a business out of your food product. But you've got a recipe and maybe you finalized the packaging or maybe you haven't done that just yet. So you want to get some kind of honest feedback. And I'm going to tell you straight up, and I don't want to offend anybody, but when you get your family and your closest friends to kind of give you feedback, it's normally kind of sugar-coated and it's always in a nice way. Well, when you want feedback and you want to actually turn this into a business and you really need some honest feedback, you don't want sugar-coated feedback. You want the honest truth. If it was something that was on the shelf and the person eating it did not know you made it, would they actually buy it? That's the ticket and that's the trick. And what you need to do to make that happen is what I'm about to explain to you. So nearly 10 years ago, it's been a little bit over 10 years, I was a supervisor at a very large retail chain. I had a lot of employees that worked underneath me. And I always would bring products in during the, not really products, but actually samples of what we were making at the time, which were some cookies and a variety of other products. I would bring them into the workplace and I would give them away as gifts. I did this during the holiday season, and I was kind of doing an experiment without really actually telling them what I was doing. All I did was simply bring them in, kind of dress them up in a nice little package, put a bow on it, and gave it out to my employees. And then after the holiday season, I actually reapproached them and I said, look, the thing I gave you during the holiday season, the gift I gave you, the cookies or whatever it was that we gave them out, what did you think about it? Honestly, is that something that, would you actually pay for something like that? So at first, when I presented the item to them, I didn't explain to them what I was doing, but I was kind of secretly doing an experiment to see what would be the reaction. And would it be a reaction where they would actually pay for the product if I simply had it on the shelf and they knew no idea that I was the one making it? And the bulk of the people that I gave it to, who were coworkers, and I'm going to explain the reason why I would kind of use coworkers instead of family and friends. I'll explain to that in a minute. So I asked them, if you saw it on the shelf and it was packaged really pretty, would you buy it? And the majority of them actually said, yeah, that I would definitely do it. And then I went a little deeper, and I kind of had in my mind a price point. If I had put it on a retail store shelf, how much would I see it? So how would I see it priced? Now, of course, me being the producer, I would be selling it to a retail store, so the amount that I would sell it to that retail store would be less than obviously it would go for at the on the store shelf, because they have to make a margin. They mark it up. I got that, but I was really trying to just pick their brains, and I had to ask questions, and I was kind of doing undercover research in a sense. And here's the reason why I would do this with coworkers or associates I worked with, who were friends at the workplace. I wasn't really hanging out with them. I wasn't doing things outside of work with them because they were friends at work, but they weren't necessarily like family or friends type of thing where I would sit down and have a barbecue with all of them. But I just worked with them quite often, obviously throughout the day for 8 to 10 hours, et cetera, et cetera. So I would go and I would use their opinion, and I would kind of use that and kind of lean towards what they would tell me more so than family and friends. And here's why. A lot of times I would produce product, I would make something, I would do a cookie or I would do a chocolate pretzel or I would do something because at that time I didn't know exactly what direction I was going to take. I didn't know what to make. I wasn't really sure of where I could go with what I do now. Nearly 10 years later, now I kind of have more of a focused idea. It may not, by the way, take you that long, but it took me a little bit of time to realize that. So I gave it to them because when I gave stuff to family and really close friends and I started asking, everybody was really sweet about it. Everybody was like, yes, oh my goodness, you're going to make a lot of money with this. This is fantastic. Of course, sweetheart, oh, that's a great job. Yeah, good job. Everything was just a positive kind of sugar-coated feedback. It wasn't really an honest feedback because what I had done was kind of secretly given this product to somebody at my workplace, not telling them, hey, you know what? After the holiday season in January, I'm going to ask you for your feedback. So can you kind of think about it? No, I didn't do that. I just more or less said, you know what, I'm going to give it to them. And so, actually, some of the people said it was good, but they wouldn't really pay for it. It's not something that just wasn't. It was just not their taste, or wasn't their type of a sweet, or their type of a cookie, or whatever it was. So I got some of that honest feedback, which wasn't exactly negative, but it was not something they would actually pay for. And that was really important. What I found out to be is really important is that if somebody enjoyed it, that's one thing. But getting people to part with their money, that is a totally different story, okay? And you kind of have to be really kind of professional and kind of serious about when you do this kind of a research, if you will, because you're going to put your time, effort, and money and energy and all your resources into creating a food business, okay? And if you believe enough in your product, that isn't always enough, okay? You got to really kind of do a little bit of market research and see if people could really would part with money, because that is what you want them to do. You don't want them to actually give you some idea of, you know what, he's just a nice guy, I'm just going to be nice and I'm going to tell him, you know, it's good, yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily pay for it. You want them to say, look, tell me, does this taste like garbage? Does this taste amazing? Oh, it does. Okay, well, would you pay, $12, $19, $20, $30 for it? Or if it's horrible, like, what would you change about it? Or is it just something that's not your taste? Or did it just, you love chocolate chip cookies, but the ones I make just taste like junk, okay? So you want to kind of pick their brains and get their feedback. It's kind of something you want to stay away from when you want to talk to your family or friends about, because like I said, they're just going to kind of be nice about it most of the time. So my tip to you is, if you want to get into producing a food product and you want to create literally a business around it, and you're going to do all of this effort and energy and even risk, there's risk in everything we do. You're not always going to be guaranteed success in it, but when it doesn't work out, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to give up on that particular food idea. It may be another product that you're looking for, okay? So if you have a recipe, my plan would be to perfect that recipe so you know that recipe like the back of your hand, okay? You can produce it quickly, you can make it always the same, you're consistent, and it tastes amazing. And then work on your packaging. And if you don't know how to package a product, go online and Google products that are similar to what you make and literally look at how they do it. It's not necessarily copying it, but if you make jam, obviously you would put it in a preserved jar with some type of mason jar and a lid. You wouldn't put jam in a plastic bag, obviously. So see how they package it, see how their labels look, see how it's presented. Everything about it is something that you want to kind of mimic, but you want to kind of put your own spin on, okay? So once you have all that done, I would recommend definitely tapping into the resources where you are. Obviously, all of us have jobs, or all of you probably have jobs right now that you're doing that you may enjoy, or maybe you like it, but you're not really passionate about it and you want to get in the food business. Well, everybody in your office needs to be your guinea pig, okay? Everybody needs to be that experiment, and you need to do that. And just give it to them and just tell them, hey, you know what, I made a batch of this. Don't tell them exactly why you're doing it, because if you tell them that, you're going to one day have a business, and you're going to leave this job, and you're going to make jams and jellies for the rest of your life, and I need your feedback, everyone's going to be really it's going to be fake. It's not really going to be 100%. Say, look, take this home and try it. It's just a little gift of mine. I'll get back with you. Let me know what you think about it. That's something like that, really subtle. And then from there, you can ask them all the questions. Hey, did this really taste great, or was it just kind of okay? If you saw it on the shelf, would you pay $7 for it? Is this flavor good, or would you like something like grape? Or just pick their mind and try to figure out if it's something that's really worth your time and effort, okay? And it will definitely pay off, because it will save you a big headache down the road if you produce a product and you realize, it's not really something that's flying off the shelves. So with that being said, I just want to give you guys a really quick tip. If you want to do some kind of R&D, some research and development, if you will, definitely try this method and just see how it works with your product, okay? And it's a great way also to kind of get your feet wet in the idea of making a finalized product and giving it to a potential customer, and you can get a feeling for how that feels. So I hope it helps you out. If it does, as always, please do give me a big thumbs up. And if you know anyone, friends or family, who can benefit from my channel, my video, or any of my resources, let them know about marketing food online. I appreciate it. Great. Thanks, guys.